So, what if I told you that a 2,000-year-old tradition held a practical guide to one of life's biggest questions? How do you find real, lasting happiness? We're not going to treat this like some dusty history lesson. Think of it more like a roadmap. Let's dive in.
We've all been there, right? You get that promotion, you go on that amazing vacation, and it's wonderful, but it's fleeting. So we chase the next thing and the next, hoping that's the one that'll finally make us happy for good. But the feeling always seems to fade. Well, believe it or not, this exact problem is the starting point for thousands of years of Indian thought.
To find the answer, we can't just look at the goal. We have to understand the method. And Indian philosophy starts by completely reframing what philosophy even is. It's not just about ideas, it's about a tool.
So in India, the word they use for philosophy is darshan. Now, this comes from the Sanskrit root drish, which means to see. And that's the key right there. At its core, darshan isn't about sitting around and having abstract debates. It's about getting your hands on a tool, something through which you can actually see.
Think of it like a lens for your mind. The goal isn't just to think about the world, but to see it, and to see yourself, truthfully, without all the usual distortions from our anxieties, our hopes, our fears. This is a practical skill, not some academic exercise.
Okay, so if darshan is the lens, what are we trying to see with it? Well, this brings us to the whole point of the entire endeavor. What's the ultimate goal here?
The great thinkers of this tradition, they looked at all the stuff we chase, money, power, pleasure, and they asked a really fundamental question. Since all these things are temporary, and they're often mixed with a lot of stress and pain, can they really be the final goal of life? And almost all of them came to the same conclusion: nope. The texts use this beautiful, simple analogy to explain it. Think about making rice. The whole goal, the whole point, is the finished meal, right? The cooked rice. Washing the grains, boiling the water, those are just necessary steps you have to take to get there. Well, these philosophers argued that most of what we spend our lives chasing, that wealth, that status, are just the necessary steps. They're not the final meal itself. So, what is the cooked rice? What is the ultimate goal? It's a state called moksha. This is the big one. It's a state of total freedom from that endless cycle of suffering and temporary pleasure. It's described as a supreme, stable, and profound state of bliss that doesn't depend on anything happening outside of you. Now here's where it gets really interesting. While the destination, moksha, is singular, the map to get there is incredibly diverse. There is no single right way. And the sheer richness of thought here is just incredible. The yoga school, for example, says the path is to still the chaotic fluctuations of your own mind. Vedanta says it's about having this profound realization that your true self is actually one with ultimate reality. Buddhism lays out a very practical eightfold path to end craving. And then you have the Charvaka school, the materialist, who pretty much looked at all of this and said, you guys are nuts. The only goal is to have fun in this life. I mean, you gotta love this quote, right? Borrow money and drink ghee. It just goes to show this wasn't some monolithic agreement. It was a real, robust, and often fierce debate. The Charvaka school basically argued that since there's zero proof of an afterlife, the only logical thing to do is maximize your pleasure right here, right now, even if you have to go into debt for it. This amazing diversity of paths, it raises a really crucial question. Who is actually equipped to walk any of them? I mean, what kind of mindset does it even take to start this journey? The texts are pretty clear on this. They say not just anyone can undertake this journey and expect to succeed. You have to become an adhikari, which basically means a qualified or a worthy seeker. And this isn't about being special or chosen. It's about cultivating a very specific inner state of mind. So, what does that look like? What's in the toolkit for a seeker? Well, first, you need a burning curiosity, a really genuine desire to know the truth. Second, you need some control over your own mind and senses. You can't be pulled around by every little impulse. Third, a mind that's been cleansed of negativity. And finally, something called shraddha, which is a deep sense of trust and faith in the path you've chosen. These are seen as the absolute essentials for the journey. Okay, this all sounds very profound, I know, but let's get down to the brass tacks. How does any of this apply to our crazy lives in the 21st century? And that's a fair question, right? We live in a world of deadlines, mortgages, and endless notifications on our smartphones. Is a 2,000-year-old quest for liberation even relevant, let alone practical?
And look, the criticisms are obvious. You might be thinking, isn't this just blind faith? Or this is totally useless in our modern scientific world. And maybe the most powerful critique, the one the Charvaka school was making thousands of years ago, is why on earth would I sacrifice concrete, real happiness right now for some abstract future goal I might never even reach?
But here is the crucial point. This is the twist, and it's the thing most people misunderstand. The ultimate answer provided by these philosophies isn't really about what happens after you die. It's all about transforming the quality of your experience right here, right now.
The real goal is a concept called Jivan Mukti, which literally means liberation while living. It's the radical idea that you can achieve that state of unshakable peace, that clarity, that freedom from suffering here, in this body, in this life. It's an experience you can have, not just a destination you reach after death.
And you know, the pursuit of this Jivan Mukti has very tangible worldly benefits. The practices are designed to cultivate mental clarity and positive thinking. The ethical frameworks give you a guide for creating a more stable and compassionate life. The whole argument is that a person who is working on themselves in this way just naturally contributes to a better family, a better society, and ultimately, a better world.
So it really leaves us with a powerful question for ourselves. In our own relentless search for happiness, are we focused on the necessary steps, the job, the car, the next vacation, or are we focused on the ultimate meal? This ancient tradition doesn't claim to have the only answer, but it offers a detailed and time-tested map. The only question left is, where will you choose to look?